All right, come back, come on back, have a seat. Those of you that are here physically present with us in the room, you're going to notice that our screen is rather dim today. And that's because we're using the old projector because we couldn't get the new one to connect to the computer for some reason today. So hopefully when the lights go down, it'll be a little easier to see, but at least there's something up there. So we're glad about that. Now, our music this morning is going to be Daniel Nahmod, and I have a very exciting announcement, which is because Amanda and I are going to be gone this next week, we're leaving this afternoon, next Sunday, Daniel Nahmod will be here in person. He is going to do the talk and the music. It's going to be a fabulous morning. You will not want to miss it. So, and those of you online, make sure that you tune in. This will be the first time he's actually physically with us. And he's going to have a big table because he has a lot of stuff. Not only CDs, he's got stuff they make at home, handmade stuff his son makes. So check it out, have a good time with him, and really, really make him feel welcome, okay? That's just great. And we love Daniel. We're just so grateful that he's been able to provide the videos for us this morning. So we're welcoming him back on video today. You can join him Monday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific on Facebook Live if you go to his Facebook, Daniel Nahmod USA. So this is a song of his that we have sung together before. Please stand, and we're going to sing Swing Wide the Doors with Daniel this morning. You will see the words on the screen, though you may have to squint. It might be a good time to go ahead and turn the lights down, actually, so people can see the screen.
Good morning, Golden Gate. It's Daniel Nahmod. Ready to sing? Here we go. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Nice job. Good morning. Thanks for singing.
All right. Good job, everybody. Thank you. So now go ahead and silence your cell phones. Bring yourselves into center as we prepare to open our hearts and minds for everything that comes to us in this service this morning. So I want to invite our morning practitioner up to do the opening for us, Suzanne Dubois.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this working? Yes. There we go. I saw that the theme is seeing through negative circumstances, and I'm just inviting all of us to leave aside anything that is in our way of experiencing the Spirit as we settle into our seats and ground ourselves in the earth and open our mind and our heart and our soul to Spirit. That which surrounds us and embraces us at all times, always there, always part of the creative process where we can experience and hold ourselves as one with Spirit. I know at this very moment that each and every one of us in this room is a part of Spirit, that source which creates out of itself all that is. And today, we open ourselves to new messages, new music, words from Reverend Mary. Whatever is appropriate, whatever comes to us today is perfect and is exactly what we need to hear and experience on our path. And I am deeply grateful for this opportunity to be here with you and for all of us to be together as community. And I know all is manifest for us at every moment, right now, right here. And so I release my word into the law of action, letting it go, knowing it's true and done. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Suzanne.
We've all heard this kind of story. Somebody's diagnosed that their time is suddenly short. And in the back of our minds, we wonder, what if that news was mine? Would we do more of the same with the moments that remain? Would we live like we were dying? Why wait? Why wait for that fateful fall, for that wake-up call? Why wait until it's too late? There is only today. We've all heard this kind of story. An earthquake strikes the coast of a distant land. It seems like every time we come together as humankind, we make a different choice. Kindness cuts through all the noise, and we're suddenly united. Why wait? Why wait for that pouring rain, for that hurricane? Why wait until it's too late? There is only today. Why wait? And when an ambulance goes by, everybody pulls aside. The holidays put smiles on every face. So tell me, what's the reason why we need excuses to decide we are part of only one human race? We've all heard this kind of story. Someone keeps her dream a secret all her life. Why wait? Why wait? 'Cause if we don't try, oh, that dream may die. Why wait until it's too late? Let the future fall away. Let regret evaporate. There is only today. Why wait?
Yeah. Oh, that song gives me chills. I love that. Um, I guess why wait is a good question for a year when the theme is living out loud. You know, let's be ourselves, let's get out there, let's make a little noise, let's make it good. And this month we've been talking about how to see through negative conditions. And, you know, I think one of the things about seeing through negative conditions is it isn't the condition so much as it is what we tell ourselves about the condition. You know, the condition just is, the circumstances just are. And they may be difficult or easy, they may be unpleasant or fun, but it's more what happens in our heads that determines how we feel and what we experience in relationship to it. And I wish that we were able to tell little kids, without making them feel like they're doing it wrong, that you don't have to feel bad. You have a choice about this. But what you have to do in order to not feel bad is begin to think about this differently. Our theme for this morning is don't wait to be happy. You know, I know I've said this and I've heard other people say, well, I'll be happy when this is over. I'll be happy when I get my taxes done. I'll be happy when exams are finished. I'll be happy after I've done these reviews for my employees. I'll be happy when I retire. I'll be happy when the kids are out of school or off to college or in school. I'll be happy when I get this lawn mowed. There's always something. And we don't even think about that we're saying that we're deliberately deferring happiness because there's something that has to be done, and for some reason, we're making that thing responsible for us not being happy. This lady says, I was driving through my neighborhood one day and I stopped to watch a Little League baseball game that was being played in a park near my home. And as I sat down behind the bench on the first baseline, I asked one of the boys what the score was. We're behind 14-0, he said with a smile. Really? I said, I have to say, you all don't look very discouraged. Why should we be discouraged? The boy said with a puzzled look on his face. We haven't been up to bat yet. He was not telling himself, oh no, this is terrible. Oh, they're too far ahead of us. We're never going to catch up. Oh my God, what if I don't hit it? None of that. It was just, couldn't wait to get up to bat. It's a different way of talking to oneself, you know? And so when we do that, we begin to discover, like it or not, that happiness is a choice. It's not about what happens to us. It's a choice. And usually what happens is that we're so immersed in our habit of how we respond to any kind of negative news or condition or situation that we default to it so fast we don't realize that we could default to something different. We have that possibility. So if happiness is a choice, I mean, you could say, well, Reverend Mary, that's easy for you to say. You know, you get to be a minister, you get to, do what you want to do, and so on. But I listen to the people who inspire me, who don't have a reason to be happy, or at least during a portion of their lives, as far as I would think if it were me. Viktor Frankl, who was a psychiatrist who developed a particular kind of therapy for patients, was a Holocaust survivor. He lost almost everyone in his family, except I think one sister, parents, wife, everybody. And yet, in A Man's Search for Meaning, or Man's Search for Meaning, he says this: the attempt to develop a sense of humor and to see things in a humorous light is some kind of trick learned while mastering the art of living. Yet it is possible to practice the art of living even in a concentration camp, although suffering is omnipresent. To draw an analogy, one's suffering is similar to the behavior of gas. If a certain quantity of gas is pumped into an empty chamber, it will fill the chamber completely and evenly, no matter how big the chamber is. Thus, suffering completely fills the human soul and conscious mind, no matter whether the suffering is great or little. Therefore, the size of human suffering is absolutely relative. It also follows that a very trifling thing can cause the greatest joys. Take as an example something that happened on our journey from Auschwitz to the camp affiliated with Dachau. We'd all been afraid that our transport was heading for the Mauthausen camp. We became more and more tense as we approached a certain bridge over the Danube, which the train would have to cross to reach Mauthausen, according to the statement of experienced traveling companions. Those who've never seen anything similar cannot possibly imagine the dance of joy performed in that carriage by the prisoners when they saw that our transport was not crossing the bridge and was instead heading only for Dachau. There was no chimney in that camp, and Auschwitz was a long way off. The choice to choose something tiny to be overjoyed about, to find ways to find a light, to choose what your inner atmosphere will be, is a power no one can take, no matter what the outer conditions are. And I know that I do, but I think most of us surrender it too easily over some small suffering that's really like a little irritation that we let ruin our day or spoil our mood or make us feel terrible about ourselves when it really wasn't that important at all. I think about W. Mitchell, who I talked about last week, who was both burned, more than 60% of his body, and paralyzed in a later accident. And him going out into the world as a motivational speaker, becoming the mayor of a small town, and saying, and I've heard him speak, and I heard him say this, and I've quoted him in here before, I used to be able to do 10,000 things. Now, I can only do 9,000 things. I prefer to put my attention on the 9,000 things I can do rather than think about the 1,000 things I can't. That's a choice in the way that he looks at his situation. Some of us, maybe me, maybe you, would be consumed with that 1,000 things we couldn't do anymore that made life so much less convenient. And I think of Nightbird. Do any of you watch America's Got Talent? Ever seen that show? Go to YouTube and put in Nightbird, all one word but with an E on the end, America's Got Talent, and watch her audition. So this is a young gal who comes out, she stands on the stage, she's very darling, she's very thin, she's very darling, and she tells them she's going to sing an original song that she wrote herself during this past year. They ask her how she's doing, she says she's fine. They ask her what she does for a living, she says, well, I haven't worked in the last few years because I've been dealing with cancer. She says it very matter-of-factly, and somebody says to her, oh well, great, good for you. And then Simon Cowell says, may I ask how you're doing now? And she says something like, well, last time I checked, I had some cancer in my spine, my lungs, and my liver. And Howie Mandel says, so you're not fine? She says, well, some of me is not fine. And then after she sings, and they are just amazed at what she's written and how vulnerable and expressive of her experience she is. Somebody says something to her about her being amazing or something, and she says, thank you. She says, you can't wait until life isn't hard anymore to decide to be happy. She didn't make it to the next show. She got a golden ticket, but she didn't make it to the competition because she had a recurrence of cancer and she passed away eventually. So she was 30 years old. Every time I see her, I'm so amazed by that performance, by the effect she has on the entire audience, and yet she's so joyful and so matter-of-fact about her process. At one point she says, I have a 2% chance of survival. She says, 2% is not nothing. It's something. Now what that says to me is, if you have 100 people who have all this terminal cancer, 2 of them are going to get well and survive. Why not her? Well, in that case, it didn't turn out to be her, but 2% means there is somebody who doesn't die from all of that. 2% is something. And so she lived her life from that hopeful place of possibilities, and it was amazing. The thing about always waiting to be happy is that it just goes to the next thing, and then to the next thing, and then to the next thing. So the downside of waiting is that you never really know when you're done because you're always waiting. So because you never really know when you're done, it eventually just becomes a way of life. When we hear ourselves saying, I'll be happy when, it isn't that we're even thinking about deferring it. It's just something to say. It's just a way of speaking. It's a manner of speech, yeah? And little do we know that each time we say that, we're actually planting it in our minds that we're going to wait for some reason. We're going to wait however long it takes. But there's always something else that replaces it that keeps us waiting. As long as we're in the waiting mode, we have to actually shift that perspective to, I can be happy now, even with those things in front of me to do that aren't done yet. I can be happy now. Barbara Hoffman said, stop worrying about the potholes in the road and celebrate the journey. In the process of is a good enough place to choose to be happy. Now, the question is, what do we mean when we say happy? What would we think of that as meaning? And Joshua Becker wrote on the website becomingminimalist.com, 8 Ways to Be Happier Today is the name of this article. And I want to just give you a little quote from him. He says, many don't even realize learning how to be happy is something that can be intentionally practiced. Some people, when they hear the word happiness, assume it is speaking of an emotion, such as pleasure or joy. But this short-term definition of happiness is not how everyone understands the word. Some define it to mean long-term satisfaction. I think of a quality of living, a much longer-term view of the word. The long-term feeling of life satisfaction is most experienced when we embrace the emotion of joy in the here and now. And we accomplish that by taking steps each day to be happy. So as we take those steps to be happy, it becomes a question of what do I do? How do I stop waiting if waiting is my thing? And there's a story that apparently Sarah von Brethnock tells on herself about a business trip that her husband took to the beach, and she and her daughter, bless you, or thank you if that was a bark. She and her daughter were enjoying the mornings while he was attending the workshops, and one afternoon, it was announced that there would be elephant rides for the children in the hotel parking lot. And her daughter really wanted to ride the elephant, but she was afraid. And Sarah told her, you know, life is always full of wonderful surprises if we're open to them. Some mornings you get up not knowing what will happen, and you get to ride an elephant that day. And so her daughter rode the elephant. Well, when they got home from the trip, there was an invitation for Sarah to join a group of journalists on a trip to Ireland. And she was tired of traveling and not really a very spontaneous person, so she told them she probably would not go. And her husband said, so you're not going to ride the elephant? Sarah went on the trip. The first thing that we have to do is decide. We have to decide that we're going to choose to practice, to speak to ourselves differently, to become more satisfied with what is in the moment that it's there. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, says there is an irresistible, universal, and divine urge within us to be happy, to be whole, and to express the fullness of life. The latent divinity within us stirs our imagination, and because of its insistent demand, impels and compels our growth. And so we might look upon this invitation to actually choose to have a different perspective, to actually choose to be more satisfied, more neutral, even if that's where we need to shift to go in a more positive direction. That is growth too. So no matter how long we live, that's something we can always learn more about. So we have to decide, I want to do this differently. This is not working well for me. I don't spend enough of my time enjoying my presence here in life. So I decide to do that, and then I have to start. Then I have to catch myself at some point and remember and begin talking differently to myself. Eckhart Tolle says, always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane than to create inner resistance to what already is? Say yes to life and see how life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you. Happens in here, in the way that we talk to ourselves, and in here, the way we think about what we're caring about and what we think we need and what we think we want. David Riccio said, I'm lost when my happiness relies on getting what I want. I am on track when my happiness depends on maintaining an attitude of yes to what I have with openness to the more that will come next. There's something that is like an invitation that opens the door to more good to find its way to us and a higher quality of good when we're willing to bless and be content with what is, to talk to ourselves in such a way that the condition or the circumstance does not determine the quality of our lives. We also have to compete only with ourselves. When we start competing with other people, it makes us unhappy. What we want to do is better ourselves. Even a little bit, a tiny little bit, is worth it. Just a little bit of expansion, a little bit of awareness toward contentment, just a little bit more is amazing. Joseph Campbell said, the way to find out about happiness is to keep your mind on those moments when you feel most happy. Not excited, not just thrilled, but deeply happy. This requires a little bit of self-analysis. What is it that makes you happy? Stay with it. no matter what people tell you. I was thinking this morning about a little video I saw yesterday about a dog with a spinal injury who was dragging his lower half around. He was a very friendly, happy dog, basically, even though he had to drag himself around. He didn't seem to spend a lot of time thinking about that or lamenting the fact that he couldn't use his rear legs anymore. Then they got him one of those little cart wagon things that you put their back half on, and he could go fast because he had wheels. Oh my God, he was the happiest dog on the block. He was tearing around. He was going off the curb. He was all over the place with his little cart. He was absolutely joyous, happy. You know that if he could have, he would have been wagging his tail like mad. The tail was no longer responsive, but you could see in his face the joy of living and of being with people and other dogs. And I thought, isn't it amazing, a human being in a wheelchair can become bitter for the rest of their lives because they're focused on the 1,000 things they can't do anymore. But it's a choice to do that, even though it may seem to us in the moment like I'm stuck and I can't do anything. I have no choice. And how am I supposed to feel good about this, or even satisfied with this, or happy about this? And the more you talk to yourself that way, the more despondent and angry and depressed you can become. The more you see people, looking at you because you're in a wheelchair, the more you can feel like you're being compared to somebody who is fully able-bodied in those sorts of ways. But if you're like W. Mitchell, you go over and say hello. He said once that the only people who tend to look him in the eyes are children and homeless people, because homeless people are used to being invisible too. The unsheltered know what that's like, where people avert their eyes. Children look at him because he looks pretty bad compared to the average human face. And so he talks to them. When he speaks, he encourages people to bring their children up to sit close so they can really stare at him. Because he said, when they sit close to me like this, they move through that process pretty quickly to where that's just who I am, that's just how I look, oh well. And they move on. It's people who don't have those challenges who don't look, because somehow I think we feel that we don't want to embarrass them or appear to be giving extra attention to their disability, if that's what it is. But actually, it doesn't matter what that's like. Every human being wants to be connected. And there's no reason that we can't look and smile. If it's a homeless person who's going to ask you for something, you can say, no, sorry. If it's somebody who's in a wheelchair, you can say, how are you doing today? Or whatever, nice to see you. We don't have to avert our eyes and be embarrassed for them. They may not be embarrassed at all. So they're not competing with us. We don't need to compare ourselves to them or them to us. Whatever our condition or situation is, whether it's visible to other people or not, because we all have challenges, we're all in this human soup together doing what we're doing. And we can choose to be content, if not ecstatic, just content with life and with ourselves, just as we are. And then we need to practice, because first of all, we have to practice just remembering that we're going to think differently. Then we have to practice actually doing it, which is, sometimes when you're feeling grumpy about whatever the situation is, that's the last thing you want to do. And if anybody suggests it to you, you just as soon punch them as have them say something uplifting, whatever that means. Michael Byers used to have a song in which somebody would ask another person, how did you create that? When they're experiencing difficulty in their lives. This used to be one of the worst bugaboos of New Thought people, was saying to somebody else who's in distress, how did you create that? It's meant to be empowering, but it's actually insulting. And so he sings a song about this woman who's telling him about her problems, and he says to her, "How did you create that?" And the next line of the song is, "And she kicked me in the shins." "How did you create that?" she said. Right, that is how we feel when somebody tries to do it for us, right? Let me remind you of the truth that you know, and you just want to knock them flat because you do know it. You know you should do it. You know you'd feel better if you did do it. And some part of you just doesn't want to, and you don't want to be reminded that you should and you could, but you're not. Now, maybe it's a favor for somebody to say that to you and let you kick them in the shins. I don't know about that. But the practice only happens from within. Nobody can make you do that. It's just like choosing to have a sense of humor in a concentration camp. You can be careful where you do that, but what your internal landscape is, no one can change that unless you let them. And so we have that possibility, that ability to go a little further. This comes from Steve Jobs' commencement speech to Stanford in 2005. This is just a little excerpt of it. He says, "I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We had just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I had just turned 30. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? Well, as Apple grew, we hired someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me, and for the first year or so, things went well. But then our visions of the future began to diverge, and eventually we had a falling out. And when we did, our board of directors sided with him. So at 30, I was out, and very publicly out. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it felt devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. And I felt I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyce and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure. And I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I had been rejected, but I was still in love. And so I decided to start over. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. And during the next 5 years, I started a company called Next, another company called Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. Pixar went on to create the world's first computer animated feature film, Toy Story, and is now the most successful animation studio in the world. In a remarkable turn of events, Apple bought Next. I returned to Apple, and the technology we developed at Next is at the heart of Apple's renaissance, and Laureen and I have a wonderful life together. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I am convinced that the only thing that kept me from going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for your work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know it when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle. And so, why wait, as Daniel sang, is a really good question to ask ourselves. Why wait to be contented? Why wait to do something that we love? Why wait until a diagnosis, when it seems like life is going to get cut short, maybe, before we decide we're going to live differently? We're going to find a way to be contented, to be satisfied, to be available to life, to participate with our heart's desire as fully as we possibly can. Don't wait to be happy. Namaste. Thank you. So let's turn within and anchor this in prayer now. I know without a doubt there's only one life. It is God's life. It's infinite, omnipresent, whole, complete, perfect. That life is my life now. That life is all of our lives right now. So I speak this word for every one of us, here and now, knowing there is nothing in us that requires us to defer happiness and contentment till later. There's nothing we need to wait for anymore. Now is the moment. And so I know that we are empowered in this moment to make a new decision, to choose to begin now to intervene in our thinking and move it toward contentment. That we are able to begin again and again to start fresh at any moment in bringing our awareness to the good, in recognizing the 9,000 things that we can still do, in connecting heart to heart with others in love. This opportunity is ever present, and we are empowered by the universe to take it and do it, to live it, to feel it, to be transformed by it. So I know that in the claiming of this, in the awareness of it, that we are in the place of practice right here, right now, in this moment. I know for each one of us that in this moment now, we can think an up-leveled thought, an encouraging thought, a loving thought. And what a gift it is that we can do that. So I let this prayer go into the creative law of mind and spirit to do the work in the unseen that lifts us, that reminds us, that empowers us, that opens the way for this greater contentment and happiness in our lives. We claim it and accept it. We let it go to the law, and we simply let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes. Please stand and join me for the morning affirmation. Oh dear, wait. I did that too soon. Let me go back here. Come on. Good. Good. Morning affirmation. Okay, there it is. Together. No task or achievement is worth putting off my happiness and peace. They will only enhance the creative journey. I embrace what gives me joy. Joy is an infallible sign of the presence of God, and so it is. Please be seated. And I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward now. This is our sacred giving time. If you would like to text a donation, the number is 415-779-7613. And for those of you that are here in the room, all of the giving options are on the lower left corner of the back side of your bulletin. And what we want to do is make sure that we bless all the gifts that are being given in the room and all the gifts that have been given to Golden Gate during this past week, and including all of us. And by the way, Paula's got the little giving cards. You can always pick those up when you come in. If you give automatically, you can put that in the basket as a recognition of what you're doing. So let's now, all of us, take your offering and hold it near your heart, or if you're giving it with a loved one, hold it in your hands together as we bless these offerings by saying together, "This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time." And so it is.
Sometimes this song is true, and sometimes it reminds me of what has always been true. Either way, it's kind of a fun one. Here we go. Gonna rise up early in the morning, gonna smile at a brand new day, gonna find that good stuff on the way, gonna have that feel-good feeling, never mind if it's here to stay, gonna find that good stuff on the way. Oh yeah, 'cause the sun is shining on me. Yes it is, and there's nowhere I'd rather be. I have more than enough. Yeah, I'm swimming in the good stuff. La 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 la. Gonna live a little bit different, gonna finish what I've begun, keep those worries on the run, gonna see what's waiting for me, gonna find a new kind of fun, gonna do what nobody thinks can be done. Oh yeah, 'cause the sun is shining on me. Yes it is, and there's nowhere I'd rather be. I have more than enough. Yeah, I'm swimming in the good stuff. La 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 la. But I tried to remember when it's said and done. By so many measures, I'm the lucky one. The sun is shining on me. Sun shining, sun shining. There's nowhere I'd rather be. Nowhere I'd rather be. Yeah, the sun is shining on me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And there's nowhere I'd rather be. I have more than enough. Yeah, I'm swimming in the good stuff. La 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 la. Good stuff. Good stuff. Overflow in my cup. Couple of notes hit and miss there. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks.
All right. just to remind us you can have a good time even if you do miss a few notes. And so, we do, all of us together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, accept this offering with enthusiasm. And we send it out into the world with that kind of energy that helps remind people to swim in the good stuff. And so it is.
And so it is.
So, any of you who might be here for the very first time this morning, I'd like to invite you to take a look at the table back on this side, which has all kinds of handouts and stuff you're welcome to take, and welcome packets. So take a welcome packet, take the blue card out that's in it, fill it out, and take it back to the table back there, and we're going to give you a little book as our thank you for coming today and your invitation to come back again. And if you happen to be online with us for the first time today, send me an email at revmary, R-E-V-M-A-R-Y, all one word, at ggcsl.org. That's Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living.org. And we'll mail you one. And we hope that you will come and visit us when you happen to be in the area. That's our thank you to you for joining us online this morning. For everybody that participated this morning, and I got to tell you, our setup team just worked frantically because we were having trouble getting the computer and the projector to talk to each other. And so we wound up using the old projector, which is why the screen is kind of dim in here today. But it looked like we weren't going to have any slides for a while. So I consider this a huge success. And let's acknowledge everybody who helped do anything this morning, all of them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The San Francisco Marin Food Bank is offering us another opportunity to help, and Ellen Nicosia is taking names, phone numbers, emails of people who would like to participate on the 8th, which is a Tuesday, the 8th of August, only from noon to 2. It's only a 2-hour slot, and generally it's going to the warehouse in San Rafael, meeting with a bunch of other volunteers, some of which are ours, some of which come from other places, and sharing a couple hours helping to pack food for local families to make their lives a little more contented. And so we encourage you to contact Ellen directly so that she knows who's coming and she can let the food bank know who's coming so they plan the right amount of work for our team. Also, Suzanne Dubois, who was our morning practitioner this morning, is going to be offering a workshop at the Learning Center on Sunday, August 20th. It's on a love offering basis, and this is writing as a spiritual practice. And it's a wonderful experience to do that, to go and be inspired by the writing prompts and then see what your intuition delivers. So you can sign up on this back table. There's a sign-up sheet for writing as a spiritual practice. And you can also email administrator@ggcsl.org and let Sonia know that you want to sign up for this class. So we make sure that you get directions to the Learning Center if you need them, and so on, all right? And by the way, you can always ask Suzanne, since she's here this morning, anything you want to know about that. Now, I have 2 announcements for sacred service within the community. One has to do with ushering and putting out snacks and putting snacks away and receiving the offering. That group, I think of, those are our Sunday teams, I think of them as the hospitality group. They make sure you get greeted, you get a program or a bulletin, and all that good stuff. And it's only once a month. You come early, you get to know people. No reason not to do that. Talk to Paula Yu, who's got the short dark hair. She's the one who was standing right here with the offering just a second ago. Also, snacks. During the summer, everybody brings snacks. So you can bring them anytime, any Sunday morning. They just need to be fresh. You need to plate them and then make sure you take your plates home with you and deliver them to the kitchen before the service in the morning. The hospitality people will put them all out so that they're available for us after the service. So we welcome everybody to do that and participate. Now, how many of you sing in the car or the shower? Really? No one else? Oh my God, I can't believe it. We have a place for you to participate. join the choir. We have this little choir of people who just like to sing. You don't have to be, an opera diva to join this group. On Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock, when Bruce is in town, they gather right over there and they practice songs so that they will be able to sing something at a Sunday service in the future. And Bruce's email address is up there on the screen. Please contact him if you're interested in doing that. He would love to have you come and join at 9 o'clock. He's out of town this week, so better to email him and find out when he's going to be back for sure, so you can do that. Also, I want to remind you, this Wednesday evening, I won't be here because I'll be out of town. However, we're still doing the Wednesday evening meditation on Zoom because Reverend Dr. Barbara Leger is going to lead that meditation for me, and that's the guided meditation. So she's going to be doing that this Wednesday night. The following Wednesday, I'll be back. But this way, we don't have to cancel it. Everybody can still come and help Barbara. She's got the outline of how we do it. But those of you that are regulars, introduce yourselves to her. She doesn't know you. Help her out a little bit so she can do that. And everybody's welcome. It's on Zoom. You can click on the calendar listing for the Wednesday meditation to get the Zoom link, and it'll take you directly to it at 7:15 on Wednesday night. Karen Drucker would like you to know that coming up on August 1st, which is in about 2 or 3 days, it's a Tuesday, I believe, she's going to be singing at Cafe Arrivederci from 5:30 to 8:30 in the evening. And she said that reservations are recommended. She'll be doing blues, jazz standards, and I don't know, some other, classic fun things. Not classical, but And she's going to be there with her band, and it'll be a really good time, dinner and fun music. So you might want to do that, and just put it on your calendar so that you remember to get your reservation. All right, I'm going to invite the practitioners to surround the room. And we're going to do a chamber of prayer again this morning. I want to soak some of this up myself this morning because we're leaving right after the service as soon as Amanda and I can get ourselves packed up because we got to get to our ride to the airport. So we're going to do that. So I'm not going to schmooze this morning, but I love you. No question about that. But we are going to now do a prayer for our contentment this week for all of us. So just go within and prepare yourself to receive this transmission of love and acceptance right now. And so it is. Please stand and join us now for the closing blessing and song. And this blessing we speak together. So, together we say, I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God. And whoever places a hand in mine is lifted. And whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. Take it away, Daniel.
1 week from today, I'll be there in person.
Woo!
I'm super excited. Thank you for having me in advance. I was looking over all the songs I've sung for you, and there are a lot. And by my count, there are something like 30 or 35 songs. And in case maybe it's never occurred to you to wonder, but I try not to repeat songs. I've repeated a couple of the congregational songs. But it's funny because as I looked over the list, 3 or 4 of the songs that are most fundamental to me, like most requested songs that are recorded and sung by other people the most, 3 or 4 of those songs I still have not done for you. So I have a couple of fun surprises and some pretty good songs for you to share next weekend. So please come out and join us in person if you're watching this online, or I'll just see you there because you've been sitting there all this time and wondering if I was in fact 3 inches square because that's all you've ever seen of me. So I'm very, very much looking forward to my visit. However, for this moment, I am about to sing a song and invite you to sing with me, a song from Sacred Love 2 that is one of the more joyful and fun and light songs I've ever recorded. I almost never sing it, but it came to mind today, and please sing along with me. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go, a song from Sacred Love 2. You are the longing of my heart, the longing of my heart. You are the longing of my heart, the longing of my heart. I want to know you. I want to feel you. I want to sing your praise, oh God, from my heart to yours. You are the stirring of my soul, the stirring of my soul. You are the stirring of my soul, the stirring of my soul. I want to know you. I want to feel you. I want to sing your praise, oh God, from my heart to your. If you can't help but dance, go ahead and do it. Loving you is all I can do. Seeking you is my reason. Serving you is my highest calling now. My highest calling now. Oh, you are the meaning of my life. The meaning of my life. You are the meaning of my life, the meaning of my life. I want to know you. I want to feel you. I want to sing your praise, oh God, from my heart to yours. Sing it again. Here we go. I want to know you. I want to feel you. I want to sing your praise, oh God, from my heart to yours, oh God, from my heart to yours. Thank you again. See you in a week.